Hello, friends, and welcome back to another episode of Super Real Human. It has been a hot second, but I could imagine no better way to come back to your preferred podcast outlet than with my good friend Ashleigh Howland. Ashleigh is joining me today to talk about something that I think we all experience at one point in time or another, especially us women who are burning all the candles at all the ends and trying to do all the things. Ashleigh leads a reflective practice, right? She's a leader in reflective practice and self return for women who are navigating burnout and life shifts. Like, raise your hand if you've had just a few of those. Right? Amen. Both hands. She helps women make sense of what's happening beneath the overwhelm so that they can come back to themselves and really move forward with clarity, which, speaking from experience, is all we really want and need. So, without any further ado, Ashleigh, welcome.
Thank you so much. It sounds so good when you read it back to me. Like, who is that? How can I work with her?
Oh,
Sign
she
me
sounds
up.
awesome.
It sounds great.
Well, from experience, she is awesome.
Thank you.
So, Ashleigh, you and I have known each other for a while now, which is
Yeah.
fabulous, and we've worked together in different capacities. I refer to you affectionately as one of my biz besties,
Hmm.
and I wouldn't trade that for the world.
Same.
But what I think is so, I find the work that you do inspiring, motivating, refreshing, all the things, right? And so we were hanging out with our other biz bestie last week. And I said, why? Why? Like, come on the podcast. Like,
Mhm. Yep.
this is super real human stuff, right? This is the
Yeah.
real things that we go through, and you help women work through the real shit that we go
Yeah.
through, that we experience. And I'm not saying that we're the only ones who experience it, but damn, there is a special something about women going through burnout and overwhelm.
Yeah. I mean, when women are the social safety net of an entire country and culture, there isn't a lot of space or conversation dedicated to what that cost actually is. And that's what I'm trying to do. Small scale with
Just,
my one client at a time.
and but that's how it starts and that's how it gets done, right? It's
Yeah,
one step, one
totally.
client, one movement at a time.
Yeah, and I think what I have learned in the past year of a very hard journey for me is that the thing that we all feel in burnout is alone and isolated, and like we're the villain in our own story, and like we're the only ones to go through this. And as soon as you start talking about it and connecting with or talking about it with other people, you realize it's actually universal. We all go through what I call the burnout cycle, which starts with like high achieving women working really hard, thinking the more they work, the more they do, the busier they are, the better things will be. And then that starts to not work anymore. It's not a sustainable approach. And then you feel like a failure. And as you feel like a failure, you begin to become ashamed. And then you begin to dread. You dread seeing friends and family. You dread the question of like, hey, how's work? How's your business going? Um, and then you isolate. And then it just gets worse. And it wasn't until I literally isolated myself into another country and could finally talk about it. I was talking about it with a friend who had been through a divorce, and she's like, I felt the same thing when I was going through my divorce. Like, I was trying everything to keep a marriage working, and I felt like a failure, and I was ashamed, and I didn't want to talk to you guys about it. She didn't even tell us until she was moving out of the house. And then I was like, well, my friends who've been through fertility journeys, like, I'm sure at some point they were doing everything they could possibly do to get pregnant, to have a safe and healthy pregnancy. And if it didn't work, they felt like a failure. They felt the shame. They dreaded family vacations and family holidays. Like it's so universal, and it, we have to talk about it more. We have to, be the ones who, I guess that's what I'm doing, is being the one who's saying, this is what I went through, and I will tell you every part of it so that you don't feel like you're alone in it, because you're not.
It's so powerful. And I think just hearing you give those examples
Hmm.
and having lived each of those experiences in my
Yeah.
own journey, then you think about the compounding effect,
Right.
right? You
Yeah.
experience, it was hard to conceive when I first wanted to start a family,
Hmm.
been through the divorce, been,
Yeah.
right? And so it's like one thing after another.
Yeah.
And these are things that women carry.
Hmm.
And like you said, they don't talk about it until,
Right.
right?
Well, even with you with a cancer diagnosis, like it feels like, and I lost my dad to cancer when I was 18. And so it feels like I remember people talking about how with cancer and the journeys of treatment and recovery, like it's almost like the ones who get celebrated are the ones who live. And if you don't survive, then we don't talk about your story. You don't talk about like what it's actually like in the treatment or in after a surgery or what the caretakers are going through.
Hmm.
It's very much like obviously you want to put some kind of optimistic spin on it, but there's also a realistic side, which is
Right.
not always optimistic.
Yeah. That shit sucks no matter what the outcome is.
Right, exactly. Yes, there you go.
Let's
I'm
just be
trying to be
blunt.
the polite one over here. Go
You
for
know,
it.
don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Rip the band-aid off.
We say
That
that
shit.
this isn't safe for children necessarily, even though we don't talk about anything like, completely off the rails.
Yeah.
Um, Ashley, I would love if you are feeling up for it, but kind of sharing a snapshot of your journey, right?
Mm.
Like when you realize like, oh, this is real, this burnout, like this is what's happening to
Mhm.
me.
Yeah.
And your journey of sort of transitioning that and that realization and that awareness into into what it is now, right? Into
Yeah.
this passion, into this. I mean, I call it sort of like a mission because I feel like it really is so
Mhm.
much bigger than just a
Yeah.
thing. You know what I mean? Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't let myself really dream about the big picture yet because I feel like let's do one step at a time, but I think that it's got the potential to be something really big and really powerful. I would say that it very, try not to make this too long. It's not actually my biography, but autobiography. I'm a farm kid. And so I grew up watching my parents work on a farm with horses, which meant 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Horses came before Christmas presents, birthday parties, all the things. The harder you worked, the better your business ran. The safer your horses were, the better your investment, whatever. And so I internalized that. Um, and I built a successful business in 2013 to 2020. I had an in practice or in person brick and mortar massage therapy, muscular therapy practice. Um, and in massage, like there, it doesn't pay well, or at least we're not taught to price it well. Um, and so the more clients you see, the better your numbers are. Until your hands fall apart and you can't do that anymore, and then good luck. Um, and so I was psyched to be getting up to like 20 clients a week with massage. And then the pandemic happened. And I wanted to bring, fast forward a few more years, I wanted to bring my knowledge and the sort of unique approach I had to helping bodies get out of pain, people get out of like chronic back pain. I wanted to make that a bigger reach. I wanted to have an online practice. And because working hard has always worked well for me, maybe to a certain extent. Um, that I thought that was just apply that lesson here. So I started working, days, and then I started adding nights in, and I started adding weekends in, and it was tweaking my offers, redoing my website, having some sales calls, but nothing really stuck. Um, Networking, thinking constantly. I have a very introspective brain, which I do think is a blessing and a curse because I can walk into a grocery store and see avocados, and in 30 seconds, I'll be mad at like the US immigration policy from looking at an avocado, which is very helpful in my line of work, but very tiring when it's my constant
Hmm.
state of mind. And so I just worked. I worked and worked and worked, and I pulled back from my friends, and I was just kind of consumed by it. And I would wake up every Monday and be like, okay, this is the week. It's going to be the right combination of words on the right social media post, and that's going to be it. The switch will flip. I'll be set. And by Thursday, I was just like crushed and disappointed. And
Yeah.
week after week after week after week for probably 18 months. Coaching, I invested probably
Oof.
$15,000 in coaching.
Mhm.
So this is between October 2023 and we'll say January of 2025, whatever that math is. Um, so by 2025, I was really starting to fail. I was really starting to falter. Um, I remember my birthday is March 13th, and I remember like not wanting to go out to dinner for my birthday. I had plans with my mom and her friends. I wasn't even speaking to a lot of my friends. Um, and I just said I really don't want to go. And she's like, just come out to dinner. You need to eat anyway. So I went to dinner, and then I had a friends reunion, a group of people I had seen in December, and I was meeting up with them again in March. And I was like, I don't want to go. And I couldn't verbalize it until I was dog walking my dog at one point, and I got this like choking, throat tightening, gasping for breath, which is ironic because I was doing breathing training at the time. When I realized the word was dread, I was dreading seeing my friends because I didn't have anything to show for all my work. So now I'm in the failure cycle. I'm in the ashamed cycle. I'm in the dread cycle. And I finally said, I can't do this anymore. I mean, I was like, in terms of like what to look for, I was crying while walking my dog. I was tired all the time. I was anxious. I scored a phenomenal 10 out of 10, A plus, 20 out of 21 on an anxiety screening at my doctor's office. They medicate for anything over seven. And I was like, well, I nailed that one.
Listen,
Good
being an
job.
overachiever,
Yeah, I like really did a great job. They were like, we don't, that's not actually what we want to
yeah,
see.
that's not the right answer.
Um, and I finally was just like, I can't do this anymore. Like, this is so, I don't know who I am. I don't recognize this version of myself. I genuinely feel like I've become a villain in this story, and I did it to myself. So I fled to Nova Scotia, Canada. I stayed in Halifax for 9 weeks with my dog. And I just stepped away from like all responsibilities. I left my mom in Massachusetts. She's fine. Like my mom is a capable adult functioning human, but I walked away from all of it and I stayed in Canada for 9 weeks and I journaled a lot. I napped a lot. I considered if I wanted to keep running that business and I just enjoyed. I just like lived life first, business, maybe like third or fourth. Like I walked to
Mhm.
coffee shops every day. I walked along the waterfront. If I wanted to go to the beach twice in a day, I went to the beach twice in a day. It was really putting life before work, which is not something I had ever done. And I came back and I tried to go right back into my old habit. And I finally was like 3 weeks home and I was sitting down trying to write a blog post for my old business. And I thought, I don't want to write this. I don't want to do this. And it's my business. So if I don't want to do it, I'm not going to do it anymore.
Mhm.
Which is like oldest daughter, you know,
100%.
high achiever. Like that's really scary.
Yeah.
And that begins what I call the mud season. Well, I call it thawing after wintering. So
Hmm.
burnout is wintering, thawing slash mud season slash the messy middle is what comes next. And it sucks. It is you're sort of healed, like you've burned to the ground, but now you're this like fledgling creature in a nest of ash with no feathers to protect you, and you don't know like where you're going or what you're doing. And there's a lot of mixed metaphors here, but it just feels like, yeah, they talk about a phoenix burning out before it can rise from the ashes, but like you're a pretty awkward little creature for a while and you don't know what's going on. And that part's really hard too. And people don't talk about the healing process as being like a long journey of learning to recognize patterns and slipping back into them and course correcting and trying new things. And so I just started kind of dabbling in different things of what I felt like was fun to do, what I was interested in. And now, long story, very long, um, now I have this business where bring I create a safe space where women who are exhausted, who are overwhelmed, who are in burnout, who are recovering from burnout, where they're not alone. where they get an hour, maybe, a week or an hour as they need to focus on themselves and to look at the things that are tangling, the thoughts that are looping at 3 a.m., the fatigue and the cycles that I spoke about earlier, and help them untangle it. Because if if overworking or overthinking actually was the right approach, we would all be doing just fine.
Yep.
And it's not. Sometimes we are too, what did I say to you? We're too close to see the forest for the trees, and
Yep.
I'm the arborist.
Yep.
I'm the tree cutter.
You are 100% the
I'm the
arborist,
lumberjack.
right? Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes, sometimes it requires an axe.
Hmm.
Sometimes it requires some pruning shears,
Yeah.
right? But
But
we all need someone who can see what we can't. We
yeah,
all have blind spots, right?
totally.
And I think it is such a huge step to acknowledge there are blind spots. Like something is not as it should be. And I don't know what it is,
Hmm.
right? Or I know what it is, but I don't know which direction to move forward in.
Right. Right. And I feel like I've been sort of stymied by that question multiple times in my life. I remember in my 20s knowing that I had gone to a good high school, you'll go to a good college, you'll get a good job.
Hmm.
And I graduated college and I was like, where's my job? You told me I would have one.
Yeah.
Where is it? Oh, you mean I have to work even harder now? Oh, shit.
Yeah.
And being sort of terrified by the fact that like I didn't even know where to start. There are so many options that it feels like there's no options. And then you
Hmm.
just kind of get stuck and you're like, I don't know what that is. And that comes back to being in the mud. You just don't know. The path isn't clear. It seems really murky. And I'm learning that mud is a space to play in as much as it is a space to get stuck in. Um, but that's taken 40 years.
It seems like a much better option to play in the mud than to
Right?
get stuck in it. But
You're
you're
gonna get
right.
you're gonna get dirty either way. May as
Either
well
way,
laugh
it's
about it.
messy, right? So you may as well enjoy it.
Yep.
But it's so interesting that you say, like these were their expectations, right? It's all these, it's other people's expectations that we carry as though they're our own because at least it's a path.
Yep.
Like if this is what, I looked at my parents and I'm like, oh, so like you have one career for like your entire life. So I
Right.
better pick wisely. And then when didn't work out coming out of college, right? Like I did all the stuff to be a diplomat in foreign service and then I didn't.
Hmm.
And now I'm like, oh, this is going to be a fun journey. Like what? How do you pivot
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I wish that I mean, God, if I could do it over or if I could like make a wish for the next generations, it's that we don't look at failure as a bad thing.
Yeah.
Failure is simply a pivot, an indication to pivot.
Yeah. It's information, just
It's
like everything
information.
else. It's
Right.
information. It's not failing.
Right.
It's like a map, right?
Yeah.
It's what's the key on the
And
map? Who knows?
right. And it's not meant to be, or I don't think it's meant to be a miserable journey. We get maybe 85 years
If you're
on this.
lucky.
Right. If you're lucky, you get 85 good years.
Yeah.
And I really don't think they're meant to be, spent struggling and miserable. And I don't know. I mean, that's a big question, but it just feels like
It
there
is.
there are ways to navigate it that make it so much more enjoyable.
Right. And a lot of that takes some unprogramming, deprogramming,
Yeah.
undoing,
Relearning, unlearning,
relearning,
untangling.
untangling, if you will.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
yeah, it does. And
Yeah.
that's often the hardest part, right? It happens in the process like you described.
Yeah.
There is this undoing, this untangling, this
Yeah.
unfurling of everything that's been built that's taught you that this is the way you do it or this is the way you get through things.
Yeah.
And I agree. I think I was told last week, God, you're so optimistic. And I'm like, here's the thing. I've been not so optimistic at times, and I don't like it. The outcome doesn't necessarily, like, it is what it is. The situation is what it is.
Mhm.
I get to impact what I can impact, which is me and my
Yep.
approach and my lens and my whatever. Right.
Totally.
So, how can I make this the least horrible possible or the
Right.
best possible, right? Like
Yes.
there's always a different lens. There's always a different pair of sunglasses you can throw on.
Yeah,
So it doesn't mean it's
absolutely.
always going to be easy, right?
No, no.
But I do think one of the things I say to the girls all the time is there's always a way.
Hmm.
Even when it seems impossible, there is always a way. You just got to figure out how to look at it. You just got
Yeah.
to find that way,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I've taken up doing word puzzles quite competitively against myself.
Excellent.
And, a lot of them have like one solution, but a lot of them have like different ways of getting there, different ways of seeing it, or different ways of logicking yourself to a certain way.
Hmm.
And I think that that is a better lesson.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Always a different way.
Yeah.
So, Ashley,
Yes, Maura.
for those fabulous women who are listening who are like, oh crap, that sounds really familiar.
Mm. Hmm.
I'm here. Like, now what? What what can they do, right?
Hmm.
To sort of get them to a place of like taking that deep breath and figuring out what support or resources they need next, right? Is there like one piece of advice that you can give the woman who is definitely in burnout, who knows she's in burnout,
Hmm.
and just needs that quick, like, what do I do? Right?
Hmm.
Where do I look? What do I do? Because then I want to talk about where do they find you? But
Hmm.
right, but to get them to that point of like taking a deep breath so that they can make a smooth step forward to
Hmm.
finding that resource, what would be your advice?
I think, well, I think for me, it was carving out 10 minutes to journal in the mornings and to not censor myself
Mm,
because the things that I don't even want to say to my therapist go in the journal because then they're out of my head and they're not adding extra weight to what I'm carrying. And journal is a loose term. Voice note, write it down, rage doodle, but just getting the thoughts that are looping and swirling and what is the term? Living rent free in your head,
mm,
get them out.
mhm.
And then, and this is the hardest simple advice I can think of. It's not easy, but I think it can be simple. It is do less. Take away one thing from your day. Maybe it's that you're gonna Instacart your groceries instead of go to the grocery store. Maybe it's that you're going to get takeout. Maybe it's that the laundry doesn't get folded. You know, it is take away one thing and really genuinely let it go. If you can delegate it, even better, because I think that women do all the things because it's just easier to do them instead of giving it to somebody else, especially if they're not going to do it the way you want. But them
Hmm.
not doing it the way you want doesn't mean it's not getting done. They're
Right.
just lodging it into a different crossword puzzle.
Hmm.
Um, so getting the thoughts out and doing less because what those both do, and I say this as somebody who really struggles with this, and I'm better at catching it now, but they give you a, a moment of breathing room. They give you a moment of rest and clarity. And I know that like 10 minutes doesn't seem that impactful in the face of all the things you have going on in a day, but 10 minutes can be everything.
10 minutes is
10 minutes,
huge.
it's huge of just centering. And it's not like centering, grounding, woo woo. It's like you take out, you clear out a cobweb or a mold patch, I don't know, and you make space for something else to come in.
Yep.
That something else might just be silence. It might just be calm, or it might be, oh, I've got an idea. And that's the thing I need to help the thing that's been keeping me awake at 3 a.m. move forward.
Yeah.
But you don't, and I'm really bad at this, like I said, when you go full throttle all the time, you don't leave any room for like new ideas. My business coach talks about pressure cooking and how if you never take the pressure off, you can't add new ingredients.
Mm.
Um, and so you have to give yourself a way to make some space to make things happen.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many times I have experienced that.
Yeah.
Or I've been for now, usually it's because I've been forced to take space, right? Either I've gotten sick
Right.
because I'm going
Yes.
full throttle or,
Yes. Yeah.
but in
And
that
that's the
open
thing. Like,
space.
right. If you don't do it, your body will, like, I wasn't going to take time. I wasn't going to take 9 weeks off of my business. Are you kidding? But I got COVID again. I got sick. I can't remember if I got injured, but like it was like week after week after week. My
Hmm.
body was like, girl,
Yeah. You are not paying
you,
attention.
right. Yeah. If you can't do it yourself, I'm going to do it for you.
Yep. Yeah. No joke. Okay, so how can people find you? How can they
Yeah,
work with you? How can they find you?
sure. I hang out a lot on Instagram. It's Ashleigh, Ashleigh, Howland, period, Lighthouse. Um, Lighthouse is based on this idea that I want every woman to have a Nova Scotia, and there are a lot of lighthouses because it's basically an island. And they are the essence of the business is creating a light in the dark when people are out in choppy waters. Um, so I hang out there. AshleighHowland.com is the website. I am now signing new clients, which is very exciting. I do
Woohoo.
a one session, I call them the focus reflection sessions where you bring a topic. It can be like post-divorce, reconciling with your kids. It can be navigating corporate drama versus rebuilding your own business. It can be life transitions, the messy middle. Any of those things are good topics. There's no like one thing that I talk about or not. Um, and we basically spend an hour. We talk about what's going on. It's not therapy. I'm not a mental health counselor, um, or professional in any capacity. My background is in massage therapy and breathing training. Um, and think of it as a conversation with your most objective best friend who has only your best interests at heart. I have no stake, no horse in the race. There are no stakes for me. It's just me listening, reflecting things back to you, picking up on patterns. It's having my strength is that I'm objective and I can put together patterns and hear things that maybe you are too close to hear or see. And then I send you off with journal prompts, which again, write about them, voice note them, just think about them differently. So you can do a one session or you can do a four session with me if you have something that's really like ongoing and you want to work on.
Awesome.
And then let's see. Oh, once or twice a month, I'm doing what I call my bonfire circles, which is a virtual gathering for exhausted minds. In May, we're focusing on burnout and body image. In June, we're focusing on finances and burnout. In July, I believe we are doing sex and burnout.
Fabulous.
Yes. So those are sort of they're a free thing every month. Free, and then when I bring in a guest expert, then they are a paid offer. They're a paid ticket. Um, but it's just an hour to spend in the company of other women who are going through it and um, sort of unlearning patterns and hearing your experience verbalized by somebody else, which is really powerful.
Awesome. I can say, as somebody who has experienced the bonfires,
Yeah.
yes, go. I'm super
Thank you.
excited actually for these topics coming up. So that is
Yeah.
exciting. Um, Also, get on your mailing list. Get on, go to, you can get on through your website?
Yes, you can.
Yes,
Yes.
get on Ashley's mailing list. I have never, okay, I'm in marketing, folks, and I love Ashley's emails.
Thank
There's
you.
something about them. They're just so written from the heart. Like they're
Yeah.
so good. They're so good.
Thank you.
Um, but also as someone who has let Ashley see what I don't see
Mm-hmm.
and call me on it, share it with me, maybe help
Mm-hmm.
guide me through that process and have those aha moments. Um, it is something spectacular just to be in the company of somebody who has that gift and is willing to share it because like you said, Ashley, like you don't have a horse in the race,
Mm-mm.
right? Like my business is my business. What I choose to do, like
Hmm.
Left, right,
Yeah.
or straight ahead is my choice.
Hmm.
But having somebody there who has similar experiences, right? And who understands where I'm coming from and the place that I'm at. There's nothing like it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, we got into it without even meaning to the other
I
day.
know we're
And
like in the car coming home from
it's just what
lunch.
I do. It's just like a natural thing for me. And I was like, oh, wait, no, wait, this is my business. What am I doing?
Yeah, right? It was awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Um, I can't thank you enough for taking the
Yeah.
time to
This
come
is so
on
fun.
and
Thank
share.
you.
I'm super excited to get this episode out there and for
Yeah.
people to hear it, understand they're not alone, and know that the solutions aren't, you don't have to go away to Nova Scotia for nine
Right.
weeks to get out of burnout, especially
Yeah.
if you recognize it earlier. I'm not saying that it's not a bad idea because trust me, man, would that be awesome. I've got a bucket list
Hmm.
of places that I would go for 9 weeks.
Yeah.
Um, and
Hmm.
you are not alone. There
Yeah.
are people and resources and practices that can help you get past that burn down stage, right? The burnout, you've
Totally.
burnt it down. And
Hmm.
how does it rebuild? How do you
Yeah.
get to rebuild?
Yeah. And I think that is both like the beauty and the terror of burnout is because you know something has irreparably changed. And now what? And then now what can scare the shit out of you? And it kind of should, because then you don't want to go back to
Right,
now. You don't want to get there again.
right.
But it's also a time of like beautiful growth and beautiful, exciting transformations.
Yeah. Well, here is to that beautiful growth.
Yeah.
All right, friends.
Thank you.
If you want to find Ashleigh, all of her contact information is going to be in the show notes. But it's Ashleigh, Ashleigh, Howland, HOWLAND.com. She is on Instagram, ashleighhowland.lighthouse. And make sure you sign up for her newsletter as well. Ashleigh, thank you so much. It's been awesome.
Thanks. This was wonderful. Thank you, Maura.
I get to see you like 3 other times this week. So,
I know.
yay! All right, awesome. Friends, thank you once again for joining us here on Super Real Human. Stay tuned for the next episode, and we will see you back here soon. Take care.